Okay. Hey guys, I'm Jordan Splinter. I'm a presidential diamond and I'm so excited to talk to you guys tonight. I have been in the business for 2.5 years. March was 2 years for me, and to say that this business has completely changed our life is an absolute understatement. It has just done everything for us. And I know that we have a lot of new people on here, and maybe you're newer in your business or you've been in for a while. And you've had life happen to you since you've been in this business, or maybe life happened to you before you came into the business. Wherever you're at, I promise you there is going to be something for you tonight, and I hope you guys get some good takeaways from this. But I just want to start out by saying that, somebody who is a top leader in this company, maybe you look at Presidential Diamond with my name, or any of the Diamond and Above leaders, or Brittany is an Ambassador Diamond. I just want you guys to know that that does not come from, having like the most experience or the best pictures, or that they had like the easiest road in their business, that they, nothing ever happened to them and everything was just fine and dandy and they just hit these ranks and all those things. Whatever it is that you have in your head, you name it, I can promise you that where we are at, it did not even come from that whatsoever. It comes 100% from mindset and deciding from the very beginning that you can, and deciding that you will, and then just trusting the process. And that's what I want to talk to you guys a little bit about tonight. So I'll just briefly share a little bit of my story and just take you guys through what it looked like when life happened to me in this business, and how I basically came through that to the other side. So like I said, I started this business 2.5 years ago. I guess a little bit more than that now, but March was 2 years. And before I came into this business, we were struggling really bad financially. Josh went from being an officer in the Army to getting out of the Army, transitioning into civilian life. But there was like a 4-month period where he could not get a job. And I was pregnant with our first child, and things just were not looking good, you guys. Like, we had no income coming in other than I was working part-time at a gym at that time. And that was literally paying me pennies, like enough just to basically pay for my gas to get to work and home, if that. And we got super nervous, and we were like, okay, like, what is happening? Like, we're trusting you, Lord. There were times that we, couldn't pay our rent. Just a lot of growth that happened during that time, and a lot of humble pie, you guys. We had to eat a lot of humble pie to just realize that we, can't do these things on our own, and we need God so bad. So Josh got a job when Micah was like 3 weeks old, I think, is when he started working. And from there, we basically had gone from 2 full-time incomes down to just 1. I wasn't working full-time anymore. I wanted to be home with my son. Basically, I saw him and I was like, okay, I cannot go back to work, a job that pays me pennies, that, doesn't see what I'm worth. They don't like pay me for what I'm worth. I did not want to go back to that. And I didn't want to put my son in daycare for somebody else to raise him. So fast forward to Micah was about almost a year old, and I was going through, out of nowhere, severe postpartum anxiety, to the point where I could not go in public. I couldn't go to church. I couldn't do anything, you guys. Like, I would have major anxiety attacks out of nowhere. And I'm a shy person anyways, but that was not something that I was accustomed to. I didn't know what to do with it. It just literally came out of nowhere. And I started looking for different ways that I could work from home, that I wouldn't have to like go to work anymore, because it was just crippling me so bad. And that was when insert Brittany Hayes came into my life and asked me about products, if I wanted to try them, and I could not afford them. And fast forward about 6 months from there, you guys, I ghosted Brittany for like 6 months. Okay. You guys all know Brittany is a powerhouse leader. And at that time, she wasn't ambassador yet. I think she was about to go double diamond, if I'm not mistaken, Brittany. But I ghosted her, y'all, for like 6 months because I was too ashamed to tell her that I couldn't afford the products. Even the cheapest ones, I couldn't afford it. And finally, I just told her, and she continued to reach out to me, you guys. Over that 6-month period, she would check back in with me, even though I was never answering her messages. And I finally just said, hey, like, I really do want to try your products. I just cannot afford it. And Amanda said she was double. So I was like, I just can't afford it. And it was that moment there that the next message I got from Brittany was asking me like, hey, I don't know if you would be interested in doing something like this, but would you be interested in making some extra money? And the rest is history from there, you guys. But it was not an upward journey from there. There were so many ups and downs in my business. So many times that I sat at a rank for a very long time. I sat at Ruby for almost a year, actually maybe more than a year, right at a year. And, I was still posting and still doing things or whatever, but life happened during that time. We had like 3 family members die within like a few months of each other. And I was in Texas. I couldn't be home with my family. And, I was already dealing with depression and anxiety and those things. So obviously like that just added on to it. And I did step back in my business. I wasn't doing what I knew I was capable of. And I saw what it did to me. I saw the result of not putting my best foot forward, even when I didn't feel like it. So fast forward, I'm not going to take you guys through like the whole journey because I would take up the entire night, just giving you that story there. But we're going to fast forward to this time last year, actually. We found out in September of last year that we were pregnant with our second baby, and super excited. Like we were planning it, trying to get pregnant and everything. But what I was not prepared for was how incredibly sick I was going to be. I was so sick that I was in and out of the hospital. I couldn't keep anything down, no foods, no liquids. They couldn't even take my blood because it was like literally sludge, you guys. I was severely dehydrated and just feeling awful. I remember telling Brittany, like, I didn't want to complain to her. I didn't want to be one of those people that was like, oh, I'm like so sick or whatever, because she has 5 kids, and it's like, Brittany's not the person you go to complain about your pregnancy and being sick. Because I know that she was sick too with Adeline, but I remember going to her and saying, Brittany, like, I literally can't even look at my phone. Any movement on my phone makes me physically sick. It makes me throw up. And you guys, like, that is not acceptable when you work off your phone, when you are running a business off of your phone. And I just remember, thinking like, oh my gosh, like how in the world am I going to get through this? Like how long is this sickness going to last, for one? And 2, like, what if it lasts the whole time and I'm this sick the whole time? So I just remember praying and asking God that he would just bless the efforts that we had already put into our business, leading up to that time, and that the seeds that we had already planted, leading up to when, life hit, that he would bless those things. And that when I was literally in my weakest state, that his strength would be made known in my business, and in the things that would happen. And you guys, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, life happened and I just beasted right through it and I didn't have any failures and I was perfect or anything like that. It was the exact opposite, you guys. Like, I failed in so many ways, and I just remember letting the ball drop way more than I needed to, and feeling like a failure in that time, because I knew that I was capable of more, and I knew that, I could be doing better than what I was doing, even though I was walking through a really rough time, and walking through what life looked like for me at that time. And I just remember feeling like, okay, like, everybody must be disappointed in me, and what am I doing? Like, what is this going to do to my business? What is this going to do to my family? Told you guys this was going to get a little deep and real. And that's exactly what I want you guys to hear, because I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit, but no matter what the situation is, I promise you, if you stay in this business long enough, you guys, every single one of you on here is going to hit a life moment, whatever it looks like. Maybe it's going to be exactly like mine. I doubt it, but maybe it's going to be exactly like mine. Or maybe, things, who is buzzing my phone? Maybe it's going to be, you are having like difficulties at home, like you're having difficulties with your kids, or your marriage is falling apart, or, you your house is being foreclosed, or, you know, you name it, like pick any scenario or anything that you might be walking through right now and insert it into this. I promise you that every single one of you is going to go through that at some point. And I want to prepare you guys. I want you to hear how I walked through it and be prepared so that when you do hit that moment, you can remember this Zoom and you can remember Jordan Splinter talking about, I'm gonna have to mute my phone, you guys, because somebody is blowing me up and it's distracting me. I want you guys to just remember this and hear, and be encouraged and be hopeful that you can walk through that too. You know, because of those seeds that we planted leading up to, you know, when life happened for us, because I had been working closely with my team and people who were working their business at that time. I was intentional about working with them pre-life. This is what we're talking about right now, pre like pregnancy and sickness and all those things. And because we were faithful, you guys, when we couldn't even see like what was happening. You know, when you think about those seeds that are being planted, when you're posting and you're messaging and nobody's commenting and liking, nobody's responding to you, or they're telling you no, or whatever it is, those are seeds being planted, you guys. And even though we couldn't see what was happening below the soil, you know, like we're dropping those seeds in and we want them to like sprout up right away. But really what's happening is like they're developing under the soil and they're just waiting to sprout, right? You guys get what I'm saying with that analogy? I know you've heard that before. We couldn't see what was happening below the surface, but because we were faithful in like before life happened, and because we continue to be faithful and just give it to God through that time and just ask him to give us, you know, give me strength through this, help me to still, you know, post when I can, and, you know, use the tools that are given to me, use, you know, old posts that I have. I mean, you guys, I dug down to like every resource I could find to keep me from some days having to come up with a post because I was too sick to even think about it. And you guys, I believe 100% because we were trusting and because we were faithful in that it's the reason why that happened. So September and October is when I started getting super sick and I was in the hospital and things like that. And in November, we promoted to double diamond. Okay. I want you guys to just hear that for a second. September and October, I let the ball drop so much, you guys. And I did not operate in the way that I knew I was capable of. No matter, like, doesn't matter what was going on. I felt guilty because I knew that I wasn't operating in the level that I could be. And we promoted to double diamond because of that faithfulness and that persistence. And, you know, through that hard season. And then guess what? Because of that same faithfulness and because of those same seeds that were planted before we hit that hard season, because you guys, I mean, I'm going to just talk on here and assume that everybody believes in the same awesome God that I believe in. And if you don't, you should totally get to know him because he's pretty legit. He already knew that I was going to walk through that, you guys. He already knew that I was going to hit a time in my business where I was going to be dropping the ball and that I was going to suck at what I was doing. I mean, he already knew. It's not like it surprised him like, oh, shoot, you got pregnant? Oh, all right, let's work things around a little bit. No, he already knew. He knew what was going to happen. And he blessed it, you guys. And then so we went double in November during that hard season. And then in February, we went triple. And in April, we went presidential, you guys. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. Literally the hardest season of my business that I had to walk through. And it's not even about us. It's not about like what we're doing. It's about that we are faithful with what we've been given and that we continue to go anyway. And God blesses it, you guys. And it's nothing like, I don't want you guys to like hear me and think like, oh, like Jordan's just whatever. No, it's 100% God. It's 100% like faithfulness and consistency. And hold on, let me mute. Whoops. I get so distracted on these things, you guys. How do I mute that? There we go. Where was I? There we go. That faithfulness and consistency. So I want you guys to just humor me for a second. I want you guys to picture a waiting room. Okay. I want you to picture that you're in a waiting room and somebody that you love so much is in a surgery right now. Okay. You're sitting there hanging out and waiting, you know, somebody you love is about to go into surgery. And, you know, the doctor gives you like the rundown and he tells you, okay, you know, it's going to be a super simple operation. It's going to take, you know, about 3 hours. You know, and you're like, okay, you know, you're feeling confident, you're not worried, you know, you're sitting there and you're like, cool, this is going to take 3 hours. They're going to be out of here. We're going to be good. The doctor's fixing stuff, you know, it's working out or whatever. So you're sitting in that waiting room and, you know, you're waiting, you're like, cool, whatever. You're like checking out your phone, checking out TV. And that 3 hour mark hits. Okay. The doctor says to me 3 hours. Okay. 3 hours is here. Okay, why have I not gotten that update yet? What's going on? Okay, let me go ask the front desk. Oh, they said they can't tell me anything. They're still in surgery. They're still doing the operation. Okay. All right, we're at 5 hours. Man, okay, we're hitting like 6 hours. Like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? What's going on? I don't know what's happening. I'm in the waiting room. I can't see what's going on in this operating room. I don't know what the doctor's doing. You know, we haven't gotten that update. So we start to get nervous. Like think about how you guys would feel in that. You're starting to get nervous. You're second guessing, like you're trusting the doctor. You're thinking like, oh my gosh, the worst things happened. Something went wrong. Maybe this wasn't even the right thing to do. Okay. Meanwhile, what's happened in the operating room? The doctor's still doing his thing, you guys. Nothing's changed in there. Everything's going peachy keen. It's going just fine. Nothing's going wrong. They're just taking, you know, a little bit longer than what we think it's supposed to be taken, than what they told us. You know, they still got everything under control. It's still going just as expected for them. It's just a little bit longer for us. You guys, we all have a waiting room. We're all going to be in a waiting room in our life, whether it's in your business, whether it's in, you know, your personal life, whether it's in, you know, think about being pregnant. We have that 9-month waiting period before that baby gets here. And that's a lot of hard work. But we all have a waiting room that we're going to sit through. And, you know, why do we, when it's not going as expected, when it's taking longer than we think it needs to take, you know, why is it that our faith just starts to like plummet? You know, our faith goes down and we start to get anxious and we start to be uneasy and, you know, doubtful and all those things. You know, why do we start to doubt? Like, why do we doubt the promise that's already been given to us, you know, that promise from the doctor or that promise from God in our business? Why are we doubting those things? You know, we don't, sometimes we just don't realize, like, I hope you guys are following this analogy. Okay. But when you're in that waiting room, when you're in that place of waiting, you guys, that is the perfect place that God has you to fill you with the strength that you need to get to the next level that you're going to. Okay. So I'm going to take it a little bit churchy real quick. And I'm going to just quote a scripture to you guys. Isaiah 40:31, it says, but those who wait upon God, they get fresh strength. They spread their wings and they soar like eagles. They run and they don't get tired, and they walk and they don't lag behind. You guys, there's going to be times in your business, and, you know, we could go into like life scenarios, but right now we're just going to talk about business. There's going to be times in your business that God mounts you on those wings and you are soaring through, you guys. You're getting all the customers. You're getting all the distributors. You know, people are commenting on your stuff. You're hitting promotion after promotion after promotion. That's great. Is that sustainable? Is that what's going to happen all the time? No. That's, you know, God's cool. He can do it whatever he wants to, but the whole purpose and what he really wants us to see and get is that we need to be able to, sorry, I had a hiccup. We need to be able to learn to walk and not stop. To be able to walk through, you know, when we're in the waiting room, we're not stopping. We're not stopping and just waiting like for God to do something. When we're in that in-between period of promotions or getting orders in or, you know, signing a new distributor, whatever it is, we need to learn to be okay with walking, continually moving through that and knowing that like in this moment, in this waiting period that we have going on, this is when I need to tap into, okay, God, what are you trying to show me? Like, what do you want me to see for my business? Who do I need to pray over? What customers are you bringing to my business that I need to pray over? What distributors are you bringing to our team that I need to stop and pray over because they're going through life right now and they don't even know they need this? I need to be praying for those people during this intermittent time, during this waiting time. And the goal is to just be able to do that, like be in those waiting moments and be patient and press into him and ask him what he has and trust him and believe that the promise that he gave you, which you guys, I truly believe that when God brings this business to you, He's giving you a tool. He's showing you like, hey, this is what I have for you. Like, why do we start to doubt if this is really what God has for us in those waiting moments? No, that's not what's supposed to happen. We're supposed to be trusting him and moving in that forward motion. So no matter how long you've been waiting, no matter how long you're sitting in, that same rank that you're sitting in, whether you're like me and you sit at Ruby for a year, or whether, whatever it is, you have to remember, guys, his promises are tailor-made to each and every one of you. Your story is not going to look like mine. My story, I'm just going to call out names because I see faces. My story is not going to look like Monique's or Leah's or Mandy's or Michelle's or Steph's or anybody's. Like, we all have tailor-made promises that God has given us that we are walking in and that are going to come to pass in his time. Like, just because it doesn't happen like, boom, 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 boom. Oh, so-and-so, they went diamond in 30 days. Okay. They were in their waiting room at another time, or maybe they're going to have a waiting room going from diamond to double diamond, or, maybe, whatever it is. Like, we all have our own paths that we're walking, and we can't be looking left and right. We've got to trust and stay that his promises are tailor-made to each and every one of us, and trust that process, you guys. And, just remember, like, just because you're waiting, just because you're in that in-between period, it doesn't mean he's forgotten you. It doesn't mean that he's forgotten, like, oh, there's another name. Oh, Sharon. Oh, man. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. Maybe this didn't. Maybe I'll just forget about that promise that I gave her. No, that's not how he works, you guys. That's not how my God works. If that's how your God works, we need to chit chat, and we need to talk about some things, because that's not how he works, you guys. When he makes promises, he does not break them. And we just need to trust that process and trust that it's going to come in his time, because his timing is perfect and his timing is the right time. So when life hits you, you guys, I know this is kind of jumping around a little bit, and I hope that this is speaking to somebody out there, because I'm going totally off notes and totally off like cue of what I was going to talk, not what I was going to talk about, but I'm just kind of going in a little bit deeper. I want you to just know and remember that life is going to happen. There's going to be things that try to take you away from your business and try to make you take a step back. But I want you to remember that God brought you this business for a reason. And maybe that reason was for you to be able to do this during that time in your life, during that life happening moment, so that it could help bring you to the other side, so that it could sustain you during that time and during that period. And the last thing that I'll leave you guys with, dear. Am I breaking it down? Okay. There we go. Jamming with that kid's music. The last thing that I'll leave you with, you guys, is, if you're on here and maybe you're brand new, or maybe you've been in for a while, maybe you've been in as long as I have or longer, or, whatever it is, and you're wondering, like, okay, what is the secret? Like, what is the secret sauce? How are these people, getting to where they are? How are they still doing this, when this is happening in their life, or that's happening in their life? Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I, whatever it is that's going through your head, the different lies that the enemy likes to put in our heads to distract us. Because, side note, if the enemy knows that he can't make you quit, he's going to do everything he can to distract you guys. I hope you know that. But the secret sauce is just being faithful and consistent, even when you can't see the reward right now. When we were working so hard leading up to that time when I was in and out of the hospital and so sick, I had no idea that was coming, by the way. And I had no idea that those seeds that I was faithfully planting during that time were going to be what resulted in us going double diamond and triple diamond and presidential diamond in just a matter of months, you guys. A matter of months. That is life-changing stuff right there. That was life-changing for our family. It's doing it when you can't see the reward, and it's doing it when you don't feel like it. Because I promise you're going to have days where you don't feel like doing what you know you need to do. And let me just tell you guys, your 6 list is there for a reason, and your steps to success are there for a reason. They are the tools that you've been given. If you want to be successful in your business, that's what you do. That's it. Done. If you don't want to be successful in your business, don't do your 6 list and don't do your steps to success. I mean, it's just that plain and simple. So doing what you know you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. And even if you are the only one on your team who has the vision of the promise that God's given you for your business, that's okay. You do it anyway. And you're going to start attracting people that are going to be taking on that vision too. And they're going to start seeing that vision towards, you know, whatever is coming for their life too. And they're going to be inspired by you going and not stopping, even when things got hard. So you guys, I want you to take quitting off the table, first and foremost. Last and lastly, take quitting off of the table and watch how God blesses your business. It's that plain and simple. So that's what I have for you guys. Let me check, see if I missed anything on here. That took up right at the 30 minutes. That's awesome. Okay. If anybody has any like last minute questions, there's a lot of stuff here, so I'm going to roll through pretty quick. Put it at the bottom so I can see it, or if I missed your question or anything. Yes, Catherine, life happens, but we have to keep going. The devil likes to interrupt what God is doing in our life. That is absolutely true. Like, why would we even want to give him that satisfaction, you guys? I don't. And every day that I don't do what I know I need to be doing, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm giving him the power and that satisfaction. Oh, Amanda, I love you. Okay, I think there's a lot of stuff here. I love you guys. I'm so glad that this is just touching you guys, because I really didn't know exactly how I was going to portray all this to you guys. So I'm so glad that it must have come through okay. Okay. I'm reading from Davida, having something in my life trying to break me down and make me explode and lose. I've been keeping faith and holding in there. That is awesome. Yes, trust that process. I promise you the reward is so much greater when you stick with what you know to do. And you feel so much better when you come out on the other side and you know, like, man, that sucked, but I pushed through and I did everything that I could. And I asked God to bless my efforts and bless the efforts that I couldn't give, you know, in my weakness, and just watching him do that. It is such a satisfying thing, you guys. Okay, I think that was everything. Well, thank you guys so much for hopping on here. We truly love all of you, and I can't wait to just see you guys be blessed in your business and get to see you guys on Zooms one day, sharing your story, sharing how you went through life moments, how you went through ups and downs in your business. And then you're going to get to share those with other people as well and prepare them for their business too, and just offer them hope and encouragement. So I love you guys. I hope y'all have an awesome night, and we will talk to you later.